G Writes and Reads. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. I'm going to see how many hours I can read in a weekend as a dink, dual income, no kids. And hopefully this is going to be the first of seeing how many hours I can read each weekend at the end of each month. Because what I have going on is for every physical book that I read that is above and beyond my physical TBR, I get a book buying credit. So the more physical books that I can read, the more books that I can buy. I'm not only going to be reading physical books this weekend though, because I also have an array of audiobook arcs that I want to get to. Let me show you kind of what the plan is. I'm going to be using my work phone right here as my timer to keep track of all of the hours that I will be reading. I have 3 audiobook arcs to listen to. One I'm listening to right now is A Good Day to Pie. I also have Avoid the Current and the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde remix book. All of those I'm very, very excited about. For physical books that I have 100 Other Girls, which I started a little bit last night, but I'm not super far into it. We have An Abundance of Catherines by John Green, and we have The Housemaid. I'm starting off at page 68 for 100 Other Girls. I thought this was like a straight up romance book. It's definitely not that so far. There are also very long descriptions in this book in the beginning. I'm sorry, but for a contemporary book, the world we live in, I personally don't need all of those descriptions. And the text for me just looks very close together. I hope I finish this with however many hours I'm gonna read, but I'm not 100% sure. So let's get started. So I got my usual 4:50 p.m. call from my boss, giving me just one last thing to do before setting off for the weekend. It's obviously fine, he's super chill. I was able to get in 48 minutes of reading before that last minute call, so that was exciting. I'm gonna take care of this, probably make myself some hot chocolate. The book, wild. I still don't like the long descriptions, don't get me wrong, it's just not my favorite thing, but I am loving where the story's going. It's definitely getting, more interesting than I thought it would at the beginning, because there were just such long descriptions. I was like, all right, when are we gonna get past that? And now we're finally past that, and I'm excited to keep reading it. I also think it's funny that I'm taking a break from my readathon to do work after hours, like how in 100 Other Girls, the boss just calls Nora at any time of the day. Obviously my boss isn't calling me at 3 a.m., but I just thought it was a funny parallel. We have our first snacks and drinks of the readathon. We got a little hot chocolate. We'll also have some cinnamon swirl bread. I love the cinnamon swirl bread. I eat it every day. I think it's so good. And I'm not a huge night reader, but my goal today is to try to get at least 5 hours. So we're only 48 minutes in. So let's see how many more we can get before dinner. All right, so we are on chapter 22 and we are 2 hours in. I am really enjoying this so far. I feel silly. I don't get the title of this book. I don't get why it's called 100 Other Girls. So I'll have to watch some of Amon's TikToks and maybe that'll give me some explanation. I'm still enjoying the book. I think I was a little intimidated by how close the text was with the book, but it's actually going along fairly well. I did start at page 60 when I technically started filming, and now, like I said, we're on chapter 22, page 194. So we're gonna see, it's almost 7 o'clock. I usually go to sleep at 9, but like I said, I really want to try to get 5 hours in today, so I might try to just push myself to stay up just a little later. We are 3 hours 18 minutes in, and I finished the first book, 100 Other Girls. I feel like I ended up enjoying it overall. Initial reactions for a rating, probably a 3.5. I like the majority of the story. The end, I don't know how I feel fully about the end. I like how the main character Nora made all of her decisions eventually. I think I didn't like the romance aspect of this book. I almost wish that was completely taken out of there. Nora's development I really liked, and the representation I really liked, so maybe it's a 4. I usually take a day to really think about my ratings with a book. We'll come back to this. I'm not a huge night reader, but I at least want to start An Abundance of Catherines. I think I'm going to give myself 15 minutes, get initial vibes for this book, and then I have a few chores I want to do, so I'm going to listen to my audiobook for a little bit while I do those, just kind of see how it goes. So I'm excited to be done with one book. I definitely want to try to get through this and finish my audiobook. I've read the first chapter and I noticed I don't know, other people probably read this. There's little like annotations at the bottom that correlate with the text, that add into the story, which I already think is cool. I'm curious to see what else those little annotations will be for. I like chapter 1 already. I'm interested to see what's gonna happen. I read a little bit of chapter 2 and we're meeting the main character's best friend after his initial heartbreak. I think this will be an interesting change from this book because, you know, two very different authors, two very different main characters. So I like the kind of switch there. And then obviously if I finish this one, moving on to The Housemaid, those will also be very different. But we're gonna switch to my audiobook, which is A Good Day to Pie, which is an arc that I'm listening to. It's my first cozy mystery. I didn't realize that was, I guess, a subgenre of mystery. I feel like I've seen a few titles, but I really like A Good Day to Pie so far. And Avoid the Current, the next audiobook arc that I have, is also a cozy mystery. And now I'm really excited to listen to those. So I'll take you with me to do some chores. Then we'll probably turn back to this because I really like to read before going to sleep, but physically read before going to sleep. So my other favorite reading snack is chocolate chips and peanut butter, and listening to It's a Good Day to Pie, where our main character is selected to go on a show for her culinary skills. This is also the second book in a series. I don't know why I keep requesting them, but you don't necessarily need to read the first one to read this one either. And they just keep talking about all of their bakes. It's supposed to be a spin-off of the Great British Baking Show, so they just talk about desserts all the time, and I have such a sweet tooth. That's my favorite snack to eat while I listen to this audiobook. We are also officially at the 4-hour mark, so that's pretty good. I don't know how much longer I'm gonna stay up, but that's a pretty good start. So I did some chores, listened to more of my audiobook, and surprisingly, we did end up hitting 5 hours today, which is really good. Good morning. It's Saturday, the next day. We're still at 5 hours. I usually do a Peloton ride, and then I walk on the treadmill. I'm trying to work up to 12:3:30. I'm only on like 10 incline, 2 miles an hour. I can go a little longer than 30 minutes. I don't usually read when I'm on the bike, but if I do a recovery ride, which I think I'm gonna do tomorrow, I will. But always on the treadmill, I listen to my audiobook and play a little game on my phone. We're gonna do that first. I did bring down my physical book, which is The Abundance of Catherine's. I now have a post-it note as a bookmark. I do have a real bookmark. So I might start reading this if I run out of lives on my silly little game. But I still have 2 hours left of my audiobook, and it's an arc, and I want to finish it before the publication date. And I have another arc that I want to try to finish this week because the publication date for that arc is February 9th, which is Avoid the Current. I want to try to get those reviews out before the books are published. So let's go. Did our little workout, got changed to read for the rest of the day. I did finish A Good Day to Pie, which I really liked. I thought it was really cozy. I liked the mystery aspect of it. It was my first cozy mystery, and I'm excited to have more. My instinct says like a 4-star for me. I definitely really enjoyed it. I just don't know if I would read it again. Like, I don't know if any cozy mystery would really get that 5-star, make me want to read it again, but we'll see. So I'm starting my next cozy mystery, which is called Against the Current. I've been calling it Avoid the Current, but it's Against the Current. That's my bad. So I'm excited to read that one. A Good Day to Pie ended with some recipes too at the end of the book, which I thought was a super cute touch. We're at almost 7 hours, which is pretty good. I'll probably switch to reading An Abundance of Catherine's after I just get a little bit into Against the Current. So maybe listen to like a chapter or two and then switch back to the physical book. I also did just Google this because I'm like 5 minutes in and I thought I recognized the narrator for this. And I did. It's Janina Edwards. And Janina Edwards, I believe, has narrated all of Jasmine Guillory's book, which I absolutely love her as a narrator. So I'm super excited. This was like a surprise that I just wasn't expecting. So we're under a winter storm warning. I opened up some fruit snacks and continuing to read An Abundance of Catherine's. So far, so I'm typically a person that likes very plot heavy books, knowing what the destination is going to be, where we should go, characters having a goal. And it wasn't very clear in the beginning of this book what was happening, but now I feel like I'm on page 66 and I feel like now I can see, you know, like where the book is going, the goals that Colin has and that Hassan, his best friend, has. So I think I'm more interested in it now, which is good. I do like John Green's writing, and I've listened to one of Hank Green's books and I also liked it. I'm excited to keep reading. However, I don't know why, I feel like it's taking me longer to read this than the other book. Maybe it's just because I'm still at the beginning of the book, but I'm enjoying it so far. So we're going to keep going with reading the physical book for a few hours. And then we might switch to listening to the audiobook and maybe doing some other activities while we listen to the audiobook. Switching up where we're reading to get off the couch for a little bit. Might even hop on the treadmill a little bit more, even though I know my posture makes me look like a little gremlin. Big bag of chips from Costco. Big thing of salsa from Costco. I'm a big snacker, especially while reading. We've only read like pages since the last update when I had the fruit snacks, so I knew it was time just to like eat a little bit more. All right, so I'm a little over halfway done with An Abundance of Catherines, and so something that I've noticed is like the use of the R word, and I like this came out in 2007. I know John Green has apologized for his use before, but like I don't fully know what I want to do in terms of like rating and reviewing this book. So that's kind of what's on my mind right now. I've taken a little break to start thinking and reflecting on what I want to do with that. We are over the 10-hour mark. I'm not going to DNF this book, but I just don't know what exactly I want to do in terms of a review or a little video on it. I don't know, that's just something I'm going to have to keep in mind. Bear told me he wanted to be in the shot with us. So we are at 11 hours and 14 minutes. Finished with this book. I feel like the first beginning part was really good. I feel like the execution, going down the road of it, I just started to feel kind of disengaged from it. I think the R word really messed me up while reading it too. I wasn't expecting to see it that many times. And I don't know, I feel like the character development for Colin was just very, very slow. I don't really know what I'm gonna rate this. I think this is definitely one of my lower rated books for sure of this year. And I do think it's important to talk about because like I had no idea about the R word being in here, and I think that's gonna be like really important to talk about. Now we're gonna move on to The Housemaid. I might switch my audiobook against the current for a little bit so I can eat. So we'll see which one I pick up next. I think I want to try to make it to 18 hours today, maybe a little bit longer. I know I wanted to get 12 hours today, which would put me at 17, but I think I can go a little bit longer. So I've been listening to Against the Current for the past 2 hours. I really enjoy it so far. It's a cozy mystery. This woman opens a bake shop, family owned, but her competitor that's a few blocks down, turns out he is no longer with them the day after she makes kind of an open threat against him that I don't think she'd ever actually act on. And I feel like I'm learning a lot about West Indies culture in this book too. There's so much food mentioned and a lot of the family history is in there, so I really like that. I'm gonna start physically reading The Housemaid now, which I think will be a departure from the previous 2 books for sure, and different from the cozy mysteries that I've been listening to. I've heard this is like a mystery thriller, so I think it'll definitely be a different vibe. And then a quick time update before I start reading. We're at 13 hours and 4 minutes. Again, not a huge night reader, but I don't know with this one. I read like 82 pages of it, and I feel like I'm not the fastest reader in the world. I'm super interested to see what continues to happen. I'm very confused, but I do like the main character who he says is like understanding with mental health of the person that hired her to be the housemaid. I just have like 5 million questions. I don't know what direction this book is gonna take. I am so confused. We'll just have to see, won't we? I'm on page 194 of The Housemaid. I didn't realize this would be multiple perspectives, which makes me really excited to keep reading. Right now it's about 7:20 at night. We'll see how much longer I stay up reading. I finished this. I don't have the words. This was really good. Oh my God. I felt this way too after I read Silent Patient, where like I had to talk to somebody about it. I think my mother-in-law read this, so I think I'm gonna talk to her about it. Well, I think for the rest of the night, I'm just gonna listen to the audiobook. My husband and I coach bowling tomorrow, so we won't exactly, like, I won't be able to be around all day to read. I am at 16 hours and 39 minutes. So I can definitely get to 17 hours tonight, which was my initial goal, but I don't think I'll reach 18. So I'm just gonna listen to my audiobook. I don't know if I'm gonna choose another physical book to pick up because I know I won't have as much time tomorrow, and after bowling, we're pretty tired. So I'm gonna think on that one for a bit. Right, it is 10 at night, so I'm ready to go to sleep, but we're almost at 18 hours, so that was pretty cool. I think I have the next physical book that I'm gonna at least start reading, hopefully during this readathon. We got a lot of snow, so I definitely got a snow blow tomorrow, but we'll see. I am really enjoying Against the Current so far. I think because it's the first book and we're getting a lot of context for the like Spice Isle Bakery, I think the beginning's just a little slower for me compared to the other cozy mystery that I just listened to. Because the other cozy mystery I just listened to, it was the second book. So there were definitely things that I missed, but I'm still enjoying it. I'm still hungry instantly while I'm listening to it. But I will see you in the morning for the last day of our readathon. All right, it's the next day. I listened to a little bit of my audiobooks. Now we're at 17 hours and 50 minutes. I really, like I said, want to try to get to 24 hours throughout this whole weekend. But we just got a ton of snow. So instead of doing my usual exercise today, I think I'm gonna snow blow once it's light enough out. So I'm just gonna keep listening to Against the Current, which I'm really enjoying. I might start beta reading for somebody today. I'm gonna hold off on choosing another physical book in case I get to beta read their book. But I think I have what I'm gonna read next physically anyway. We'll see how many hours I can get in. I don't think I can listen to my audiobook while snowblowing, but I did charge my wireless headphones in case I can. But I think it'll just be too loud, and there's just way too much snow, and I really don't want to mess it up. Our driveway is also super long, so when I shoveled it last time, I was able to listen to a lot of my audiobook, but this time, I don't know. All right, you can see it's light out now. It took about an hour just because we get up pretty early around here. So I'm gonna try to see if I can snowblow. And if I can listen to my audiobook during that, not 100% sure, but the snow blowing definitely needs to get done. So in case anyone's curious, these are my headphones. They're these Beats wireless ones. They look like this. There's an A for my name because my husband actually got this for free from Best Buy when they messed up our shipping address. So we each have a pair, and he wants to make sure that I don't accidentally take his, which I've definitely done before. I snowblowed, so now I want to start getting ready for our bowling match today, but I am at 20 hours because I was able to listen while I did all of the snow stuff. So that's really exciting. I think I can definitely get 4 more hours in. I only have like 3 hours left of the current audiobook. And then I actually did get the manuscript to start beta reading today, so I think that's what I'm going to get accomplished. All right, my husband and I have to head to the bowling meet, but I did start beta reading and I got about an hour of that in, so I have 3 hours left to get to 24 hours. And I'm hopeful that I can listen to some of the audiobook on our way there and on our way back, so I'll update you when we're back, when it's like 6 o'clock at night and it's dark again. All right, we just got back from the bowling match. It's a lot later, was able to get up to 22 hours and 17 minutes in the car. So I'm going to keep listening to Against the Current, and then I'm going to think about what audiobook I want to listen to next, because 3 of my books at Libby came off of hold. There's a little while until my next ARC audiobook is going to be published, so I feel like I have some time to decide what I want to listen to next. So still hoping to get to 24 hours today. Righty, we hit 24 hours. So that's super exciting. I might listen to a few more minutes before going to sleep, but at this point, I am tired and ready for bed. So I'm going to do a little wrap-up segment after this, just kind of summarize everything from the first, hopefully, monthly readathon. It's the day after the readathon. Read for 24 hours over this weekend. We got 2 audiobooks finished. It's a Good Day to Pie and Against the Current. Also finished An Abundance of Catherines, 100 Other Girls, and The Housemaid. I also started Royal Holiday by Jasmine Guillory for my last audiobook. I started beta reading for my last physical book, you could say. So that is our wrap up. I do plan to do this again at the end of February. So are there any recommendations I should look out for? Are there any new releases in February that looks good? Any favorites that you want to see read and analyzed a little bit? Let me know. And thanks for watching.